Hunger Games Catching Fire. Now, I will say that I wasn't especially looking forward to seeing this film because I saw the first film, I thought it was good, but it wasn't great. I mean, I don't know, I never really got caught in the fever that everyone had about the first film, that it was this masterpiece. And, well, it wasn't bad, but I didn't think it was especially fantastic. I don't know, I mean, as soon as I saw Hunger Games, I kind of forgot about it afterwards. So, yeah. So, when the trailer was released for Catching Fire, I thought the trailer looked good, but I wasn't really planning to see it anyway. But then I heard people say that it was better than the first film. I thought, okay, well, the trailer looks pretty good, and everyone's saying it's better than the first film, so, alright, we'll give it a go. And I have to say, after watching Catching Fire, I am looking forward to the third film. Yep, I'm looking forward to the third film, because Catching Fire, like everyone said, is so much better than the first film. Everything just seems so much more explored in the second film than compared to the first. You actually see the tension in this world that they've created between the government and the people. You see things escalate, and you get a better sense of oppression in this film than you do in the first. Because I kind of thought that the world that they established in the first film, they didn't really show too much of the oppression that people were going through. I mean, there's a couple of scenes in this film where they show some people doing this. I'm trying to get the symbol right. I think it's something like they kiss their hand, and then they show it to whoever's on stage, basically Katniss and Peter. And there's one scene where an old man does that, and then these guys who, let's be honest, kind of look like the Spaceballs, they take this guy from the crowd, they put him on stage, and they shoot him. They put a bullet in his head, and that whole scene was it was a shocking but powerful scene. It was because I don't actually remember if this was in a trailer or not, but for me that shocked me, and that was such a surprising, shocking scene. And scenes like that, it made you hate the villains in this film. And believe me, at the end of the film, I hated President Snow, who was basically like the Emperor Palpatine of this world. I absolutely hated the villains. And I think that if this film can make you so passionate about hating the villains in this world, it's done its job. Because I think every film wants you to hate its villains. And I think very few films actually achieve that. So that is just incredible that this film achieved that rarity that actually made you want to just see the villains punished. Donald Sutherland, who plays President Snow, he plays his character really well. He's got this sort of smugness about him, where he never gets angry. Or at least, he'll never visibly get angry. He's got this sort of he's like the kind of villain you really just want to punch in the face, So he plays his character really well. And the whole story of the Hunger Games is quite interesting. If you've ever seen Battle Royale, that Japanese film, it's very similar to that, where you got this in Hunger Games, you got this government who takes these tributes from each of these districts, these like a boy and a girl, and they make them fight in this arena. And these districts are basically living under fierce and harsh oppression. And in this film, unlike the first one, you do get a true sense of that. And I think that I don't know, everything about this film was just so enjoyable. And I do actually want to see this film again. Which again is a big difference from the first film, because I know I'm kind of putting down the first film a lot, but the first film, it wasn't a bad film, but it just didn't grab me like it grabbed most people. This film, Catching Fire, grabbed me. It grabbed me. I was with this film the entire time, and the end of this film, it sounded like a direct segue into the third film. So the ending of this one really got me excited to see the next one. So yeah, you know what? I'm probably going to count down the days until the next film comes out, because I actually think that I've become a Hunger Games fan. And believe me, until recently, I didn't think that would happen. So yeah, I am officially a fan of the Hunger Games. So, perhaps a stupid question, would I recommend you go see this film? Yes, absolutely. You should probably see the first film first, just to have an idea what's going on in this one, because this film does kind of require you to see the first film, to have just even the slightest idea of what's going on. But definitely go watch this film. It's worth your time. It's certainly worth your money, and I think that this film, I think you won't regret seeing this film, because it's a good example of wonderful filmmaking. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.